Hey guys, how's it going? Joey here. Today I'm going to have a bit of a different video for you guys. I'm going to be talking about the support changes that are coming out tomorrow with the season 14 going to the live patch, and my thoughts and opinions on the support items and how they affect what I think is going to be strong. I played a couple of games, maybe like 50, 60 games on PBE and CQ combined, so I have a decent understanding of what's been good for support, what I think is going to be strong, and just an overall understanding of the changes that are going to happen. This is a little bit different video, but if you guys are enjoying the season 14 content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll be posting a lot of season 14 content to try to figure out what the meta will be for support and what you guys can abuse for some early ranks. We're going to talk about what is the most important change first off. And that is the change to support quest items. This basically fundamentally changes how you play support because of what they did. From now on, the relic quests are completely different. There is no individual items, there's no spell thieves targets. It's all replaced by this thing called the World's Atlas. This is a 400 gold item. It gives you a little bit of base stats, nothing compared to what you used to get in the past for a support item for free. It gives you gold. The only thing that's really different about this is it's now both targets and a relic, or targets and like a spell thief stack where you can proc either or depending on what you're doing. So if you have a stack and you attack somebody, it'll give you the gold. If you have a stack and you're about to kill a minion, it'll give you the gold. You still have 3 stacks. It works exactly the same. It's just they're combined. You get more gold if you're trading enemy champions or hitting enemy towers, and you get less gold if you are doing it to minions. You don't actually get the amount of gold that the minions would give. It gives you just a flat amount depending on if you're melee or range. So if you kill a cannon minion, you're only going to get the 20 gold for that, and your ally will get the full gold for the minion. That's completely fine. It's just you won't get as much gold as you can. It's a 10 difference. Another thing to note about this item change is that you don't actually start with any stacks. Level 1, you can't farm enemy champions for a free, what would it be, like 90 gold basically. If you were to like hook someone level 1 or something like that, you will just not be able to get that income, and they make up for it by giving you a little bit more gold regeneration. You hit your support item spikes around the same time for when you're hitting your sightstone and tier 2 sightstone, tier 2 and tier 3 sightstone. So nothing really changed with that. It's just, it starts spawning at like, I want to say 145 in game, basically around the start of the second wave when it spawns or so, sometime around then you can actually start getting gold. So really important to keep that in mind. This will now upgrade at 500 gold to a runic compass, which will give you more stats, more health regen, more mana regen, and a little bit more gold per second, which feels really nice. Nothing really changes. You get a little bit more gold for hitting structures and enemies. Nothing major or anything like that. Just a tad bit more. It's nice to get this one early because you will start stacking that extra 2 gold per second, and it feels really good. Next comes the Bounty of the Worlds, and this is your final completed item in a way. This allows you to actually upgrade it to 5 unique support items that have all different effects. You don't get any stats for this really. It's just the 200 health, 75 mana regeneration, 75 health regeneration, and 5 gold. But you get these really cool support items that kind of actually change how the game is played for support in a little bit of a way. There's some really cool gimmicky stuff that is nice. We'll talk about all of them. We'll talk about which situations I think they're kind of good. The first one is Celestial Opposition. This is basically Crown of the Shattered Queen or supports, but a little bit worse. It's a 35% damage reduction shield or 25% for range to last for 2 seconds after taking damage. It recharges after 20 seconds, and it will leave a shockwave and slow people nearby. This is really great on melee supports. It's even really good on some range supports. If you're playing versus melee supports and you're able to get this, your mid game becomes a lot easier because you just can't get killed and burst as easy as you think. It's really strong. Really enjoyed this item so far. I think it's definitely one of the front runners for the best one to go in most situations. The next one is the Solstice Slay. This one will, if you slow or immobilize an enemy champion, you will give your lowest ally and yourself 120 bonus health and 90 movement speed for 4 seconds. It's a really fast movement speed buff. The fact that it lasts 4 seconds and isn't decaying feels really good. The only problem with this one that I see is it's on a 20-second cooldown. You're not getting this tank stats of Celestial Opposition, so you need to be really careful about how you're engaging with that. If you're playing like Nautilus, you can hook in, you auto attack, and you can run out pretty fast. The next one up is Dreammaker. This is basically a baby Echoes of Helia. Every 8 seconds you gain a purple and blue bubble. Healing and shielding another ally blows both dream bubbles to them and empowers them for 3 seconds. Blue bubbles reduce incoming damage, shield, or 140 damage, and purple bubbles grants 90 bonus magic damage on next hit. Basically just an Echoes of Helia clone, but in a different item. This one seems kind of weak, but most enchanters will probably build this anyway if they're not building Celestial Opposition. Next deck is Zach's Realm Spike. This one's a little bit of a cool one. This is for the mage supports out there. Anybody who wants to play stuff like that. It is basically if you land an ability on someone, a little portal spawns on them and does this in an AoE, and it's on a pretty short cooldown. So it's actually kind of strong on certain mages. It feels really good to spike this in early game when you get it out early. My general opinion of them from playing them on the patch so far is this Celestial Opposition is probably overall the best one and most likely a safe pick on most supports. I would probably stay away from the Solstice Slay. I think that there's very situational times where you could use this, and it's more likely that Celestial Opposition, Bloodsong, Dreammaker, Zach is probably going to be better than this one. That's just my initial opinion of it. I haven't built this too much, but from what I've seen of other people building it, it doesn't really seem that impactful. If the enemy team is low damage, then maybe it feels a little bit better, or you don't need a Celestial Opposition. But I think that just the stats that you get from this, the reduction from most champions feels a lot better. But yeah, like I said, you could play maybe engage supports, engage and get out, kind of like Nautilus. So look for this on maybe Nautilus. I think Bloodsong was really strong. I've liked it a lot. I'm building it on range supports. I'm building it on Bard even. I'm building it on Senna, building it on Leona in situations, Nautilus, Blitzcrank. It's just kind of cool. It's kind of like a new Even Shroud, and they removed Even Shroud from the game. And I think that's just kind of fun to play around with. So if you guys want to try it, maybe grief some games here and there. Dreammaker is just the standard bread and butter for most Enchanter supports. I probably wouldn't build anything else on Enchanter. Maybe a Celestial Opposition, but I'd probably just stick to Dreammaker in most games, unless they have a lot of dive threat or something like that. Because obviously they can proc this pretty easy. It's only 20-second cooldown, which is nice, but you need to be careful of that. And Zach is just, of course, the mage support item. Something to add with this, if you do buy the wrong one, currently in game, you cannot refund it. So you are stuck with that item, you might think. But no, if you do that, you can sell the item to the shop and it will give you 160 gold back. You can buy the tier 1 support item and it'll allow you to instantly upgrade it again. It will just cost 400 gold. So you need 240 gold to be able to do this. This full transaction is how much you're going to lose for making that mistake. I assume eventually Riot will add a refund, but that will always be in the game if you want to, change an item halfway through the game because you think, oh, this fight Celestial Opposition is going to be way better. I'm going to go for that. I don't have Flash. It's probably better here. Or shit, we need more damage. I'm going to build Bloodsong because we're not able to kill their tanks. All right, next up, we have the tank support items that are going to be added to the game. A little note that Even Shroud is gone. All these are not really support items at all. We'll go to the first one that I think is a really cool support item, really fun addition to the game. I've been enjoying playing with this a lot. I think it can be played on most melee supports, even stuff that like Sarome, like Bard, and that is Trailblazer. What's really nice about this is the Wing Boon Plate build path feels pretty decent in the early game. The stats that you get from it are decent, as well as you get the 5% movement speed. It's not too expensive. It'll just be your first item. None of these support items are too expensive, I would say. And we'll just talk about what the passive does. Basically, you move up like a Dead Man's Plate, gaining 20% movement speed. At a maximum stack, you start leaving a trail, which allows your teammates to move faster while they're in it, kind of like the Elixir of Iron passive. And then your next auto attack with the built up movement speed, if you're a melee champion, will slow them. I think this is just really cool. It's a really cool engage tool. I love building this on Rel, Bard, all those champions. I think it's just overall feels fun to play, and you just kind of zoom around the map. I think I posted a video of me playing it with Bard. Next up, we have Zeke's Convergence. This is basically the standard Zeke's that everyone knows. What's nice about this is it gives ability haste. It doesn't really give too much tank stats, but overall, I'm pretty sure it's very cost effective compared to something like this, because you're just missing the armor. I know a lot of people are enjoying Zeke's, but I just don't think the passive is really giving too much. I think, yeah, you can probably build it on Leona. You can probably build it on Blitzcrank. It's probably fine on all these champions. It's not really a standout item for me. I know some people are enjoying it, so it's just for you to test out and see if you actually like. I'm not a huge fan of it or anything like that. You always have your tried and true. Next up, we have the Locket of the Iron Solari. Nothing is really changing on this except for the build path, which they keep changing back and forth. Everything starts building out of Kindle Gem again when it wasn't building out of Kindle Gem before, so you need to make sure that you remember that. I'm pretty sure they deleted Life Hope Pendant from the game, I want to say, so you won't get too confused. The only thing they're changing on this is not giving the ability haste. And as well, they've removed all mythic passives. There's no mythic in the game. I probably should have started this and talked about this at the start, but they're removing all mythics from the League of Legends. You can buy anything you want, all the items you want. Fantastic. Don't have to worry about that. You're not really doing too much to the shield. This is still just a very good item in general, especially if your opponent has AoE burst and stuff like that. building locket's going to be good just because it also gives you a lot of resistances overall in like a split damage and not just a single target. These not support items, don't worry about them. And then the next support item comes to Knight's Vow. Yeah, Knight's Vow is all right. The build path changed again. Like I said, life opponent gone. You're getting a lot more armor from this item now and a little bit less health. Ability is unchanged. You're not getting the health regeneration because it's built out of the Rejuve build. I've actually kind of started liking this item a little bit more. The tank stats that you get from it feel kind of good. There's a lot of assassins in meta in general as well. So I think building this for your AD carry, if they're really fed, can actually feel quite strong. I've been enjoying this, and I've been enjoying the movement speed one the most when I'm playing tank supports, I'd say. Next up is Frozen Heart. This is a situational item to build on support. If they have a lot of AD champions, feel free to build Frozen Heart. It's pretty cheap these days, and the passive is still really nice. Next up, we have the Enchanter item changes. Chemtech Putrefier is out of the game. It feels really awkward to build healing reduction as support now. Kind of really hate this change. Hopefully they add something in the future. That'll feel really cool. They're adding small little milestone items that don't really have much impact that you can buy to feel like you're building closer to your items and filling up your inventory. And that is the glowing moat. This just gives you 5 ability haste for 250 gold. Just a build path item, nothing really to focus on here. Kind of cool, kind of not cool. Just kind of is what it is. So next up, we have Dawn Core. I think Dawn Core is actually a really cool item that they're adding to the game. It's a little bit expensive for when you actually want to build it, but basically what it is a support version of a death cap, except for it's for heal and shielding power based on your overall base mana regen, as well as ability power. So the more mana regen from the other support items you get will build into this, and it'll feel really cool. Not really the greatest item by itself. You don't rush it or anything like that. I think the build path's really cool, as well as just double Bandle Glass Mirror. It also gives you Summoner Spell Haste, which is also just like, why not just add it on top? Late game lower flash, we'll take it. I'd probably build it most likely third item in a lot of situations when I'm playing Enchanter. I just don't think it's that good as a second item. Just because of the stats that you're getting aren't like insane. The active is, it's just like an extra thing. It's kind of cool, kind of not cool. Build it late game on most enchanters, and it's just fun. Next up, we have Echoes of Helia. We all know this item. We all hate this item. It's a scam. We were promised our Athenes and Holy Grail. Instead, we get this Echoes of Helia, which is just a garbage item in general. Doesn't really do anything. It's just cheaper. You get a little bit more ability power, a little bit more ability haste, which feels great, except for the fact that they're basically nerfing it on the actives everywhere else. So you're just doing less, but you're getting more base stats. When you already have the Blue Bubble Dreammaker thing in the game, you can combo this with it. I don't think Echoes of Helia is very good. I didn't think it was good before the changes. I'd probably stay away from this item in most situations. Maybe it's like a second item on Nami or something. Yeah, probably Nami is the only champion that I consider really building this on. I'm just staying away from it for now. Don't think it's that great. I think they'll buff it in the future. Next up is Staff of Flowing Water. I think they did some really cool things to the Staff of Flowing Water and the Ardent. I wish Ardent had the opposite build path of Staff of Flowing Water, low-key, because I think Staff has a little bit better of a passive than Ardent has right now. They made it a little bit more expensive. It builds out a Phoenix Code and Forbidden Idol now. Does a little bit more AP, a little bit more mana regen. Everything else is unchanged, except for the movement speed is gone because you're not building the Aether Wisp anymore. What I think makes up for, though, is when you are now healing or shielding, you are giving them 30 AP and 10% bonus movement speed over 3 seconds. When I was playing this and I really enjoyed this, it was over 4 seconds, and I thought that was ridiculously long. The fact that it's 4 seconds, undecaying movement speed, it makes the support upgrade item, the Slay, look like a joke compared to what Staff of Flowing Water does. It is important to note that if you have Font of Life for Staff of Flowing Water, it actually will proc over and over and over again on the healing from Font of Life. Or this is what I at least tested when it was on the tournament realm. For pro play, it was in the game. I assumed they left it in because it was in for the regular split, or not regular split, season 13. Works like this. I assume it'll stay like this. If not, I'm a liar, is what it is. Sorry, read the comments or something. Next up is Ardent. Basically does the exact same thing. Still builds out an Aether Wisp, get a little bit more AP, a little bit more bonus movement speed. Probably a decent item on Janna, to be completely honest with you. They gave it a lot more base stats in the actual buff. It gives 25 bonus attack speed and 20 bonus magic damage over 4 seconds. A little bit stronger, a little bit more beefy than what it was before. It was kind of a bad item for the past couple of years, so it's nice to see it getting a little bit stronger. I'm down to build Arn in such situations, depending on if you have like a Rage Blade AD carry or something like that, and that's completely fine. Wondering which Enchanter items I think are good. I would probably just stay towards the similar build pass. I think Moonstone is still strong if you're playing certain enchanters like Soraka. I think Shirelius is kind of bad these days. I think it's not really that worth building. I think just building Staff of Flowing Water feels a little bit better. The reason is they didn't talk about it in the enchanter changes, but Shirelius no longer gives a movement speed on regular shields or anything like that. So it's kind of half the reason you kind of wanted to buy it isn't really there. The stats on it aren't really that great. There's a couple of other changes in here that they didn't go over, like the build path for Mikhail's is different and no longer builds out of magic resist items. It's actually a little bit better because of that. You can build it a little bit more situationally and stuff like that. So feel free to build Mikhail's in a situation where it feels good. Your first item doesn't really matter too much anymore. Mandate feels good on like Nami still, like that's okay. I'm just a fan of Redemption in general. Or looking towards Ardent or Staff if you're playing an Enchanter. I think those are just the better build options. And I think taking Font of Life will feel pretty good on most Enchanters if you could sneak it in with Green Tree, which most of the time you probably can. And yeah, getting the value from that feels really good just in general. And I think I already talked about the tank items, so all that's square. If you guys like this type of video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I will be posting a lot more support content for Season 14 over the next coming days. If you guys want me to go into more in-depth about the other changes that happened to the game with either champions, the void gameplay, the terrains, the new barons, any of that stuff, let me know. Or tower adjustment, any of the other patch notes here on the side that I guess you guys can't see, do let me know. I will try to make a video on it. But I know a lot of people care a lot more about support stuff because this is a support focused channel, but I can do other things as well if you guys are interested or curious about the other changes. This is a whole like massive patch note that they dropped, and I kind of want to just go over the things that I think are important to me and important to my community, which is the support items. So hopefully it is something you guys liked. Have a nice day and good luck in your Season 14 climb.